What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Theo Ash film review. Today we're talking about Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I'm just going to get right into it. The number one Minkah Fitzpatrick hater last year was definitely Pro Football Focus, who graded him out to be the 73rd best safety in football, the 4th worst safety by their coverage grades. So I wanted to see if that was valid, and I'm going to look at their week 1 grade, which was pretty horrible for Minkah Fitzpatrick, 38.5. That's boosted by the run support grade. His coverage grade was especially bad. So we're going to look at week 1 and see if Minkah Fitzpatrick was actually trash. First off, let's start with the good coverage plays. This one, the Steelers are lined up in a too-high shell, but they're actually running a disguised cover 1 look, and post-snap, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's lined up on the right-hand corner of your screen, is going to come down to be the robber in a cover 1. On the bottom of this screen, you're going to see an in-breaking slant route that Josh Allen is looking at, but Minkah Fitzpatrick takes it away by getting in front of him. He then continues to work upfield. Cole Beasley, the slot receiver, has to start working back outside. And because Minkah Fitzpatrick has taken all of this away, Melvin Ingram has enough time to put pressure on Josh Allen, get to the quarterback, and actually is able to draw a holding penalty that backs the offense up. That has a lot to do with Minkah Fitzpatrick's rep on this play, and the holding penalty has already ended it. But after the holding penalty, Josh Allen breaks Minkah's ankles, and we'll see it better from this angle right here, that this is kind of an embarrassing moment for Minkah Fitzpatrick and got put on a lot of Twitter highlight reels. But really, it was a good play for Minkah Fitzpatrick that helped back the offense up. Same type of deal here, right? This looks initially like a middle of the field open too high shell, and in this look, Josh Allen thinks he wants Cole Beasley here running what looks like an option route on a 3rd and medium. The middle of the field looks like it's going to be open here, but immediately at the snap of the football, here comes Minkah Fitzpatrick to take that route away. Josh Allen has to move on, and that kills a lot of time. That allows the pass rush to get there because of what Minkah Fitzpatrick did, because he was able to take this route away, because he was able to fool Josh Allen into looking that way in the first place. And then after that, right, he's got to make something happen. It's an inaccurate ball. The Steelers' defense gets off the field. Again, not all on Minkah Fitzpatrick. Everybody has to do their role, but a lot of this does have to do with the play of Fitzpatrick, and I would grade this out as a pretty positive play for Minkah. This is a pretty great rep against Cole Beasley in the slot, and yes, he's playing pretty heavy inside leverage, and this is an in-breaking route for Cole Beasley, so maybe this is just a gimme to defend, but Cole Beasley is one of the shiftier slot wide receivers. He's going to break like at the top of his route, like he's going outside here, trying to get Minkah to bite on it. He doesn't. Then he starts to kind of bend this on a crosser over the middle. Minkah flips his hips, doesn't hold or anything like that, gets his head around, locates this football, and this is a really athletic play at the catch point to reach behind him and bat that ball into the air for the pass breakup here. We'll watch it one more time in full motion, right? See that inside leverage. Beasley tries to get him to bite right there. He doesn't. Flips his hips, gets his head around, and then bang, that matrix move behind him to bat that away. Pretty good stuff from him. That last play that I showed versus Cole Beasley got them off the field on a 3rd and 8. On here, it's 3rd and 3, and this is my favorite rep of the entire game. They're playing with fire here, stunting TJ Watt inside on a 3rd and 3 versus outside zone. No one really gets over, so this creates a very soft edge. And all the running back needs to do is get 3 yards here. But Minkah shoots his gun, comes flying downfield, and makes the tackle at about 1 yards and gets the Steelers defense off the field. And this just exhibits so many high-level traits for a safety. I mean, you've got the reaction time to read this at the mesh point and already start triggering on it. You've got the burst down the field to get there in time. And then you've got the tackle. So just great run support. Not a lot of safeties that I trust to run the alley and make that stop on 3rd down. All right, now let's look at some plays where I could see saying Minkah Fitzpatrick messed this up. He blew his assignment. There was a catch allowed on him, and it was graded negatively. These are some plays where I could see you saying that. This is one. This is cover 3. All right, and let me draw that out real quick. Deep 3rd player, deep 3rd player, deep 3rd player, flat. This is Minkah right here, underneath defender, and then 2 hook zones. That should take care of everything. And technically, when you look at this, right, he's the underneath player. He doesn't get to the sideline. Diggs runs a curl, and it's completed because there was no one there to clog the passing lane. But look at Minkah. He's confused. He's telling people to get over. What does he mean by that? Well, remember when I drew this out, right? He's the underneath, deep third, deep third, deep third, flat. There needs to be two hook zones here. One on that side of the field, one on that side of the field. Both of these guys go to the same place here. Watch these two players and where they go, right? Both of them are covering basically the same amount of space here. There's two receivers to this side. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs basically. Whereas here it's 2 over 2. So when this wide receiver that Minkah is covering right now releases up the seam, he can't just move to the underneath guy because then Josh Allen would have a very easy completion, a big chunk play up the seam, potentially a touchdown. So he's got to carry that a lot longer than he wants to. And then he tries to get over to the underneath zone, and it's a completion on him. But that's why he turns around and says, where was my help? Where was my help? Where's my help? Get over to this side. Same sort of idea here, and I've highlighted some times where Minkah Fitzpatrick coming down from a too high shell has benefited the Steelers defense, but here it hurts them because this looks like cover 3 again, deep third, deep third, deep third, and that means Minkah has to haul ass to get all the way down there to be the underneath defender. The first down marker is right here, and Diggs is running just into the flat. It would take a superhuman effort for Minkah Fitzpatrick to beat Diggs to this spot and prevent this first down from happening. I'll roll the clip. Here we go, right? Play starts. There goes Minkah, but Diggs is already in a position to make this catch. You would need to have like Dash from The Incredibles type of speed to prevent that from happening, right? You're just putting your player, Minkah Fitzpatrick, in an impossible position as a defensive play caller here, and that's who I'm saying messed up, not Minkah Fitzpatrick, because there's just no way to be in the flat that quickly from a too high shell. But I'm sure that this was charted as a negative for Minkah just because someone in his technical zone picked up a first down. Here's another example of them screwing up cover 3. Watch Dawson Knox, the tight end. He's going to chip TJ Watt, release out into the flat. Watch Minkah Fitzpatrick. He is the safety in between the hashes right now. He's going to come in and kind of be a hook zone here in the middle of the field. I think he's doing this correctly, but no one is getting the flat. I think that Trey Norwood, the corner at the top of the screen, is supposed to be doing that, but he doesn't. They both kind of do the same thing here. Dawson Knox picks up the first down. Minkah Fitzpatrick is in on the tackle here, and maybe that reflects poorly on Minkah Fitzpatrick's grade. I don't know. Maybe it looks bad that the safety gave up safeties are supposed to guard tight ends. Maybe the safety gave up the catch to the tight end, but I don't think that's true. I think once again, his teammates are messing up cover 3 and he has to clean it up. There is one more cover 3 mishap that I do think that it's fair to blame Minkah on. The situation here, it's 4th down and about 10, it looks like. Here's Minkah Fitzpatrick, number 39. You know the drill by now. He's got to get to the sideline to be that underneath flat defender. But as he's getting over there, he gets distracted by this wide receiver who's settling at the sticks. I think that Minkah feels that if he just flies right by him, this is a free first down right here, which is not a completely unfounded concern by Minkah Fitzpatrick, considering how far off these defenders are playing. I do think that's a little bit risky. But at the same time, you got to make a choice. One of these guys is going to be open. You might as well do your assignment. Maybe he looks like a genius, right? Because that's who Josh Allen wants. He's expecting Minkah to fly over there, but then Minkah sticks on him, and Josh has to hold the ball just a touch longer and step up in the pocket. If Josh were to get sacked there, I would say Minkah Fitzpatrick is a super mega genius. But Josh Allen doesn't get sacked, and he, in fact, throws it into the space that Minkah was supposed to be occupying. And you see the reaction from Fitzpatrick there. I'll show it one more time. Notice before, when there was that pass completed on cover 3 in a similar spot, he started blaming the other guys. Get over. You should have been over here. Why isn't anybody over here? Here, he looks up to the sky and then claps and is like, dang it. All right, this is one where he knows he messed up. The other one is one where he knows others messed up. I'm going to show one more rep from this game. He's at the top right-hand corner of your screen here, matched up on Stefon Diggs. Tough assignment. Diggs is going to run that outbreaking corner, and he's going to get a little greedy, eyes on Josh Allen, maybe trying to jump that, but then Diggs plants his foot in the ground and breaks us towards the post, right? He flips his hips, but stumbles a little bit right there, and Diggs has a step or two on him. So he lost that rep, and I guess he's lucky that this isn't a touchdown, although I would say that I've seen worse coverage, all right? I mean, he is out of phase, but if this was underthrown at all, I think he'd have a chance to break this up And he did hold Diggs a little bit, contacted Diggs a little bit on the break point. You see his arm hook around Diggs's waist here, which helps contribute to this being overthrown. So it's not the worst coverage in the world, but certainly a negative rep for Fitzpatrick that would contribute to a negative grade. But with all that being said, I still think that 38.5 grade here is like very harsh. If you're going to give him that low of a grade and say he was one of the worst players on the football field, I mean, you're probably viewing that game through the lens of, well, he got his ankles broken and he gave up all these passes to the flat and cover 3. They were all his fault, and he should have given up a huge touchdown to Diggs. And I don't think any of that is 100% accurate. All right, I think that it's pretty clear watching that game. I think you can identify Minkah Fitzpatrick as a pretty good safety, right, just off that game alone. And I would say that he was a net positive to the Steelers' defense overall in that game. Basically, I'm here to tell you, don't overthink Minkah Fitzpatrick's PFF grade. The Steelers do not make the playoffs without him. He saved their ass multiple times this season. This one is 4th down and long, game on the line, under 2 minutes to go. They're up by 5 here. The Browns are trying to stay alive. This is Sutton, the nickel corner. Landry shakes him. There's Minkah Fitzpatrick about 8 yards up. Pretty fantastic burst here. Reading Baker's eyes, driving down on this, closing that gap quickly, avoiding the pass interference, disrupting this incomplete ball game. Our boy is kind of playing with fire here. There's 25 seconds left in this game. It's week 18, essentially a playoff game for the Steelers. The Ravens are trying to get in Justin Tucker territory, and he's playing cover 2 as the field safety in between the hashes, which gives him a lot of space to cover. And the Ravens have this hole shot lined up right about here. I mean, there's a lot of space to hit this, but Minkah Fitzpatrick, again, crazy athleticism, burst, and speed to close this gap and just crush Hollywood Brown, make him drop the football. And then not only does he have that kind of range, check out the coordination to punch the ball out like that, just perfectly aimed. This type of play to save their season with the playoffs on the line is just as high level of safety play as you can have by Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then there's this game against Tennessee where he recorded 14 tackles from his high safety spot, 12 of them solo, starting with this one. Starts from that too high shell, but again, immediately drops down post-snap. Takes away any potential digs, but he keeps his eyes on Tannehill, sees that the screen is developing, and he's able to just fluidly shift to defend that and get the tackle here. This game is an important one when it comes to understanding just how useless the intermediate defenders in front of Minkah Fitzpatrick were. Devin Bush was horrible. Robert Spillane. Like, this is a weak-ass play fake by the Tennessee Titans, all right? I mean, that play action doesn't even go into the chest of that running back at all. At this point here, it's pretty obvious that this is play action, but yet still takes the linebackers a little bit to react to that. And then they robot with no feel for space at all. The hook zones are useless. There is no clogging of the passing lanes. But as soon as Tannehill opens his hands to throw this, disconnects his hands and begins that throwing motion, you see Minkah reacting to that, knowing exactly who the ball is going to be and starting to drive on this and at least delivering a very punishing hit, punishing a guy for going over the middle. Pretty good chance at dislodging this ball. Bang. But nice catch by the wide receiver. I don't know how this would be charted for PFF. Would you chart Minkah giving up this catch because he's, it's technically in his zone? I don't know. But to me, this is a good play by Minkah Fitzpatrick, and it's tough to play safety when you just have no faith in the intermediate defenders in front of you, and you can't really even look at, like, say, Julio Jones, who might be running a big post behind you. It makes safety play very difficult. And Minkah, I think, did about as good a job as you can do under the circumstances. When you look around the current landscape of the league and how teams use their defensive backs, it's all a lot of hybrid stuff. The traditional roles of free safety and strong safety are kind of dead on a lot of teams because guys line up everywhere, but that's not the case with the Steelers. All right, Minkah Fitzpatrick, this whole dark green chunk is him lined up at deep safety. Very defined free safety guy here. Terrell Edmonds, this light green and red chunk, that's slot corner and linebacker, very defined strong safety. So when you think of Minkah Fitzpatrick, you should think of that high safety in cover 3, that Earl Thomas type of role. But despite the fact that he spent all that time way up high, he still led the Steelers in tackles this year, which is just crazy. He had to be both a high safety, and also was a de facto linebacker for them with the amount of times that he had to come up and clean up the mess that all the scrubs in their front seven created. At the end of the day, my take is this. Bro can straight up play, and you have to pay him. You absolutely have to. You're not letting Minkah Fitzpatrick walk. They invested a first-round pick in him, and he was everything they ever dreamed he would be, plus more. Plus, go watch an interview with him. I mean, he's a total culture guy, buttoned up, professional. You don't just let guys like that walk. There'll be a mutiny in your locker room. I promise you that. And you could worry about the PFF grade or whatever, some of the stats that say he was down this year. But, I mean, his intermediate defenders were so bad that he, couldn't have good eyes because of that, and, had to work overtime all the time and had to worry about basically two different positions at once. That's why he led the team in tackles from a free safety position, right? So, he's not going to have the world's most efficient year when he has to put out fires everywhere like he had to do this year. So, yeah, he absolutely deserves the contract. Yeah, he absolutely did not fall off. Yeah, he absolutely is one of the best safeties in the league. Watch the film, and if they can get good play out of Miles Jack and the new additions, if Devin Bush can kind of have a bounce back year, and the new additions all play well, I think that we're looking at another first team all-pro type of season from Minkah Fitzpatrick. So as always, thank you for watching. Let me know what players you want to see in the future, and I will see you next week.